marks need to be set. Handles to the wall or the divider, so the number points to the wall. Number will point to the wall, number will point to the divider. Always during a bounce wheel. We want it to look professional. This is a Tuesday night league night. This is a bounce wheel, baby.
All right. Good afternoon, curling fans. Welcome to the final day of the 2024 Broomstones Oktoberfest Open Bonspiel, also known as the Boo. My name is Matt Hughes. I will be walking through the final of today's game, the final of the tournament, a final. It will be contested between Team Alex Leichter and Albin Saliku, both members of Broomstones Curling Club. Going through the rosters for Team Leichter, Alex Leichter is the skip, Laura Hollisey is the vice, Ryan Hollisey is the second, and Nicole Aaron is the lead. And for Team Albin, we have Albin Saliku as skip, Andy Gisome as the vice, Scott McLeod as second, and Jess McLeod as the lead. We will look to update our scoreboard and see who has what color. And as is customary in a lot of curling events, we have 3 other games going on: the B, the C, and the D final. We will try to update those scores as we go along today, and provide those updates as they come through. So it looks like Leichter will start off with hammer. Albin setting up for a center guard for lead Jess McLeod. Throwing the out turn. And we'll get started off right here. Out turn coming through. Scott on the sweep originally. Line looks pretty good. And so does the weight. So finished pretty nicely near the center line. And a good start for Jess, right on the center line. We are observing the no-tick rule for this event. So that rock has a good amount of protection. Being on the center line cannot be knocked off. And if it is, it will be replaced and put back. Lead for Team Leichter, Nicole Aaron. Looking to throw a come around, that's center guard. Rock coming in, weight looks pretty close. Looks like it needs to finish to get around the center guard. Ryan trying to push it over. But it will say pretty exposed from the hack. And Albin wastes no time in calling for hack weight to remove this yellow rock. Jess again will throw the out turn. Rock is away. Brushers haven't laid a broom to it yet. Now they're on it. Scott on it to keep it straight. Looks pretty good. Approaching the yellow. Will make contact. And get a nice little flop undercover. A really nice shot there from Jess McLeod. Great pair to start. Leichter setting up for the in-turn draw. Taking middle of the 12-foot, counting for about 5 feet of curl. Maybe even a little bit more if he crosses center line. We've seen the customary lot of curl at Broomstones, which definitely makes for exciting games. There's hardly a draw that can't be made with the amount of swing that we have, which is a testament to our great ice crew. This rock, though, did come up a little short and will stay on the center line as about a 2.5 guard. So not what Alex was looking for. And Albin looks like he'll try to come around what Nicole just threw and try to sit 2 around a good amount of cover. Rock is away from Scott McLeod, second. This is coming over towards that yellow. Looks like it's a bit light as well, but will act as another guard. Finish very close to the center line. And Leichter now opting to play the other turn to get to this red rock. Ryan Hollisey, second. Did talk to Ryan and Laura before the game. They wanted me to give a shout out to their parents, Russ and Diane. They also wanted me to shout out Martha. And then from the curling community, they wanted to shout out Rob and Mary, who are driving back to Philly right now, who played in the event. I believe they're both Bucks County members. So shout out if you're watching on the drive home. Good shot here from Ryan. Makes contact with the red, pushes it back to the 12-foot, and stays under cover. Very nice shot. And Leichter now sits one around a lot of cover around that's 3 center guards. Just for the sake of fairness, I did ask Team Saliku if they had any shout-outs, and they didn't name any, so definitely want to make sure the community knows fair and balanced booth up here today, giving opportunities for both teams to give shout-outs. Rock coming through for Scott. Will make contact with this yellow, bump it towards the 4-foot. Will bite the 4-foot and leave his shooter pretty exposed from the hack. Probably can see nearly all of that red rock. And Leichter has a few options. Looks like he'll go after this red with some quiet weight. Maybe something like board. And Ryan just made a similar shot, so we'll definitely be in the ballpark here. Rock is away. Looks to be hanging a bit on the outside of the rock right now. Will make contact and bump that red back. And should get out of the rings, and it does. So yellow now. Shot rock. It's close for second. Looks like red might be sitting second in the back of the house. But that yellow in a good spot. Albin feels the need, and I think rightfully so, to address that rock. And we'll play another quiet weight hit. Do have to be careful about the jam in the back. But this is Andy Gisome, the vice. Looking to get a little flop under cover here and avoid the jam in the back. This looks pretty good. Coming towards the rings. Jess on the sweep. And will avoid the jam and get a roll. And that rolls pretty nicely to the left side of the house. Kind of staggering that rock, that shot rock. So definitely available right now for a short red-yellow run back. Leichter trying to figure out how to address this. He's motioning that he wants to move this red rock, but maybe with some quiet weight. Now looking at the other side of the sheet and ups for the draw, and I think I like that call. Try to sit 2 here, and you don't want to make the shot for your opponent. And that original shot he was looking at had a fair amount of risk. So I like this draw. The vice, Laura Hollisey. Rock coming in. Sweepers are off. Seem to be a bit concerned about the weight. It will drift towards the back of the house. And will sit back 4. But does sit in time to sit second shot. So Alex sitting 1-2. But with that rock falling behind the tee line, definitely an opportunity to freeze to that rock. And it will be very difficult for Alex to remove that if it is either frozen or right in front of that yellow. So that's the call for Andy Gisome. Taking a fair amount of ice on this. Looks like edge 12. But Andy tends to throw a pretty light handle. We'll get a good amount of finish here. Line looks pretty good. Sweepers are off. We'll get close to the nose of this yellow. And we'll sit in time. Sit on the back part of the button. Good enough for shot rock. So a good shot there from Andy. Maybe a slight over curl versus what he wanted to maybe glue that to the face, but still a good shot. And definitely limiting the scoring area for Leichter, who has hammer. So a good end so far from both teams. A lot of good shots already. Rock coming in from Laura. Another out-turn draw. Nicole trying to finish this. This does also look like it has a good amount of weight. And we'll finish alongside that red rock, but we'll kiss over, and red still lies shot, but yellow sitting 2, 3, 4 all around the 4-foot. So it is a lonely red for now for Albin, so probably we'll want to put another one in there for a little bit of an insurance policy. And we'll see this out-turn draw again. But I think if you're Team Albin, you're pretty happy with how this end's shaken up. You have plenty of center guards, a lot of junk in front of the house, and Andy's making his draw weight already in the first end. Definitely a good recipe for at least putting pressure, if not getting steals. So again, Albin looking for that out-turn draw, taking pretty close to edge of the 12 foot. Tends to get a little less finish versus some of his teammates. A little bit more rotations on his rocks. But the rock is away, and sweepers are not on it. Seem to be a bit worried about the weight, but the line looks pretty nice. This will finish and sit right against the button and back button, but good enough to sit 2. But is a pocket there for Leichter if he wants it. Doesn't seem to have a lot of options other than this draw, or because the left side of the sheet, a lot of staggered rocks there, hard to access the button. So we'll be coming on the out-turn side. So Alex taking edge of the 8-foot. Significantly less ice than what Albin's been calling, but might be trying to jiggle these rocks a little bit, maybe with a bit more weight. Maybe something like backline to hack. The rock is away. Sweeper's not on it. Does need to finish here, but is getting some late finish. And the line actually looks really nice now as it approaches the 4-foot. And it will bump these rocks slightly, but sit right there on the pin, sitting 1. And that's going to be a real hard rock to get out of there. But if you are Team Albin, you're not going to be too upset here if you limit Team Leichter to a force of 1. So, likely to see a similar shot here from Albin. Another out-turn draw. And if he's able to put it on the face of the rock that Alex just threw, I don't know if he'll be able to get shot, but we'll definitely limit Alex to a very difficult opportunity to get more than one. So Albin taking about middle of the 12 foot for ice. Comes out of the hack. Looking for this straw that we've seen a number of times this end, so should have a good idea about speed and line. Rock crossing the hog line, looks a bit light. Looks like it'll stop a bit short and get to about not quite the 12 foot. So a little light there, and did actually over curl slightly to act as a guard. So Leichter taking a second look to see if there is a shot for more than one. And I think this red-yellow that he's looking at would give him a chance for that. And looks like he will be playing the shot with good amount of weight. The broom selection makes me think it's about control, maybe even less. But anywhere near the nose of that red rock will redirect this yellow towards the scoring area. Maybe a little thinner, maybe about half a rock would do the trick. But given how those red rocks are positioned, I'm not sure if the one that shot rock is frozen against will go very far. But it is Alex Leichter, so rocks can definitely move with the amount of weight he throws. So hammer rock here in the first end. Alex looking for a red-yellow mini run. Looks to be maybe over curling already. Sweepers are already off of it. Threw that a little quieter than I expected. And does crash on the center guards. It will be a score of 1 for Team Leichter. And they'll take a 1-0 lead over Team Albin Saliku. Looks like they might be looking at that rock. They think it may have picked. So something to keep an eye on as we go further along in this game. Look at other sheets. A couple first ends wrapping up. And sheet 4, red scored 2, take a 2-0 lead. I'm not sure what event the other sheets are, apologies. But if you are interested in those other events, we do have live streams of those games without commentary, with our beautiful new camera setup. So definitely encourage you to take a look at those games if you're interested in those contests. But we'll keep the attention on sheet 2 with lead rock coming through from Nicole. Does just get over the hog line. 1 guard. A fair amount away from the center line. So potential to maybe draw around this rock if you're Albin and not quite be on the 4-foot line. draw coming through for Jess. Line looks pretty good, and so does the weight. So we'll finish on the side of the forefoot and pretty much perfectly around that guard. Really nice throw from Jess. He's starting off this game with 3 pistols. Alex, not sure what the call, but likely center guard. This will be coming into the rings, and looks like it'll be right around the button, and we'll glide a little bit beyond to the back 4. So Albin again looking to draw around this high, I don't know if I want to call it a corner guard, it's kind of in between, but this high guard, this high yellow guard. And Jess basically just made this shot, so should have a good idea about the speed. Rock is away. This looks to have a little bit more weight than our first rock. And the line is sort of in between these 2 rocks. It'll just kiss their own red rock and redirect onto yellow. And we'll sit 2. Like they're calling for another draw. Rock coming in from Ryan Halsey. Looks to have pretty good line and weight on this. It will freeze against shot rock and push that rock back. And Lighter sitting 1. And looks like another draw here from Scott. So gonna see a lot of rocks around the forefoot again. Kind of like a pseudo mixed doubles game going on, which I don't hate to see as a doubles player myself. Rock does have a good amount of speed, will hit yellow but will roll away and change the angles a little bit, but all of red rocks are behind the tee line, so not ideal for Albin. And that yellow rock pretty much glued to that red rock of Albin's in a really good spot. And looks like Ryan is trying to pump another one in there. Rock approaching the house. It will cross center line. And they're on the sweep now. Looks like they'll freeze to their own yellow. And they will sit 1-2. And Albin now looking to move some granite, calling the normal weight hit for Scott McLeod. Rock is away. They're on the sweep. Keep it straight. Should get around this guard. And it does. And we'll hit close to nose. Removes the backing from those yellow rocks and rolls the shooter to a nice spot. biting button. And that red rock is shot for the moment. So Alex looking to move this red rock with some weight. Calling the edge of the forefoot for ice. So maybe something like board weight, soft weight hit. Just rejigger these rocks around a little bit. Rock is away. Ryan on the sweep to keep it straight. But line looks pretty nice. Probably wants to hit more of the low side to get this rock back, and it does hit the low side very nicely. And rolls the shooter to a nice spot as well. So those yellow rocks are all lined up and will be hard to remove around that guard. So great shot there from Laura. Andy looking to move some of these yellows around. It's going to be tight to the guard on this line. And looks like it will just peel that yellow out, giving Albin some options, hopefully, on his skip rocks to move these yellows. And Alex wastes very little time in calling for a tight guard. Pointed to just left of the center line. And about a 3 guard location, so just above the rings. Rock is away. And they're on the sweep. Line looks like it's hanging a bit. It will inch closer to the center line, but these rocks will be available on the out-turn side for Andy. Good weight, just didn't finish as much as Alex would have hoped. And looking at the hack view, he has pretty much all of these yellows. So we should see contact here. Taking about edge of the stone, so looking to throw at least good normal weight. And they're on the sweep. Getting close to that guard, does get by, but slight over curl. And will actually redirect on their own reds. Bit of a missed sweep call, I think, from Albin. Kind of let that rock drift a little bit closer to the guard and really just only nudge that top yellow over. So Leichter sitting 1-2s still. In pretty good control of this end. Looking at some options, he could definitely guard this rock on that out-turn side, but did seem to be pointing towards something in the rings. Something like top 4. So I think that's what he's going to opt for, something to come into the house and look to sit 3 without hammer. Taking about mid-12 for ice here. Rock is away here for Alex. They're on the sweep. Looks to be like it's over curling. Rock made a big move. Alex looks perplexed. And this will actually get over the center line and not really accomplish either objective of either guarding those shot rocks or getting into the house. So, bit of a let off, and Albin now has a second crack at hitting these yellows. These rocks are pretty frozen, so it'll be difficult to get action on that top yellow. If he is able to hit it on the side, he might be able to push it out the right side of the house. But we'll need to throw a fair amount of weight for that to happen. Rock is away. Looks like good normal weight. They're on the sweep, but line looks pretty good. Scott looking to push it over. This looks fairly close to nose. Does push the rock over a bit. Shooter rolls to the side of the button for shot rock. So a good shot from Albin. However, that red rock is in the open. Alex will have a chance to play some kind of hit and roll. And sit two. Taking very much ice on this, so expect to see a good amount of weight. Alex out of the hack, throwing normal up weight. Sweepers are off it, just cleaning. Would love an inside flop here, but looks like it'll just hit off nose. Does sit two. And really just a shot for one here for Albin. Gonna play a little soft hit and roll of his own. Score is one. Thinking similar ice to what Alex just took, maybe a touch more. Likely going to see a little quieter weight. Albin kicks out. Looks like control-ish weight coming down the sheet. They're off the sweep, now looking for a push. Does need a bit of a flop to score here, but will hit basically nose. And does that yellow move enough in the back? I believe so. So it'll be a steal here. Steal of one here for Team Alex Leiter. And they'll take a 2-0 lead going into the third end. Neighboring sheet 3 is the D event between Team Connor Hogue and team from Long Island. The losers in last night's semifinals. Score of that so far after 2 ends is 3-1 Connor, as they have just thrown their lead rocks in the third end. But back to featured sheet, Nicole Aaron looking to draw into the rings here. It's a call from Alex. This does have a fair amount of weight and may just go all the way through the back. Albin on the sweep, and this will go through. It appears. Maybe not. We'll hang around just in the back 12. And Albin looking for a rock to the side of the 8 foot. Opting not to throw corner guard. Jess McLeod throwing the out turn. Rock is away. Sweepers are on it. Line looks pretty nice. So we'll finish on the side of the 8 foot, just what Albin was looking for. And a good rock, but able to be hit, and Leichter will chase after this red rock. Cole Aaron throwing the intern hit. Looks pretty good. Sweeper's just cleaning it. Now a little bit of a late push, but we'll hit just inside nose and roll towards the center line. Good rock from Nicole. And Albin looking like he's calling for a control weight hit on that yellow rock. Jess McLeod. Looking a little narrow out of hand for me. This will hit the low side, it appears. They're off the sweep now. Now I'll go to the back, and second prize. Take out that yellow in the back 12. So a little bit of an audible there to make something out of that rock. Ryan Hollisey gonna throw his intern. Call seems to be just top 4, and we're gonna sit 2 here without hammer. Rock has good weight to it. We'll go into the 4 foot and bite the button. There's a double here on offer if Albin wants it. Just off nose. Should remove both yellows. Scott McLeod looking to throw this intern hit. Rock is away. Andy on the sweep. And this is going to curl over. Looks like it'll just remove 1 rock. Will the shooter stick around? It is important. And it will. So not a bad shot from Scott. Kind of changing the... Ooh. Just had a big fall there from Andy. Appears to be okay. Locking it off. Hope he's okay. But getting back to the shot from Alex, kind of just changing the line here on the hits is never a bad idea. Kind of unknown territories this far wide. So we'll keep an eye on this line, but Ryan can throw such up weight it almost doesn't matter sometimes. And this will curl up and does make contact and roll out, so does the job, but would have liked to have stuck around there for sure. And now we have what will likely be a series of hit and sticks, or at least attempts at that. So Scott McLeod looking to throw quiet control weight, gonna just hit the nose, And line looks pretty good on this rock. Andy on the sweep. This will hit very close to nose. Sit right there. So Andy appears okay after a bit of a tumble. Just an end-to-end sweep to waken you back up after that. No big deal. So Leichter looking to follow suit with the out-turn hit from Laura. Line looks pretty nice on this, just cleaning from Ryan. Now maybe a late push from Nicole's. Is on the outside of the rock. Will it stick around? No. We'll roll out. So we'll give Albin a free draw here to really anywhere he wants. And does opt to put this on the side of the house, which I like. Those hits on the side of the 12-foot are definitely a little bit more challenging, given you got to be towards the edge of the sheet and the lines are a little bit trickier to read. So Andy J, we're going to put this on the side of the 8-foot, side of the 12-foot. Sweepers are on it. Seem to be a bit concerned about the weight, but it looks to me like it's all there. And we'll finish up on the side of the 8-foot. Around the tee line, so very nice weight. And Leichter calling for the hit. Laura Hollisey. Throw a nice control weight, and this will have no problems. Makes contact, rolls towards the 4-foot. Sit right there. And Albin going to make contact with the yellow and then bring it back to the side of the 8-foot. Just to change the angles on these hits. Looks like good control weight here. Scott pushing it over. But looks nice, and we'll get close to nose now. And that's just fine. Leichter sprinting back to throw this hit. I'd be in the hospital if I tried that. So you won't be seeing me going that fast up the ice anytime soon. Out turn hit. Line looks pretty good. And we'll hit on the outside of this rock, flop towards the 12-foot. Sit right there. And Albin will look for a nose hit right back. Rock is away from Albin, again playing the out-turn hit. Sweepers are on it, now Albin calling them to be off the sweep. This will be just fine. Just off nose, roll even further away from the center line. Good shot from Albin. for another hit and stick from Leichter and a likely blank attempt if this does stay in the rings. This is looking just fine to me. Needs a bit of a push to make sure it doesn't roll out, and it's just fine. Does roll right on the edge of the 12, and Albin will try the blank. Looks like he'll try to throw the in-turn at it and roll away that way. Just a matter of preference here, whether you throw the out or the in. We haven't really seen too many rocks go inside out, so will be interesting to see what this does on this line. But again, with the blank attempt, we're likely to see a fair amount of weight, so we'll look to take some of the line out of this call with the weight. So blank attempt here from Albin, trying to hit and roll out. Does need a curl, does need a finish to make contact, and I don't think he's got it. It will be a miss from Albin, and will be another steal. So Team Leichter will take a 3-0 lead going into the fourth end. Looking at sheet 1. Looks like Team Carey, Broomstones member. This looks like a 5-0 lead. Throwing the yellow rocks. So good start for them. Connor in the Long Island game, there was a blank in the third end. So Connor continues to lead 3-1 on sheet 3. And then on sheet 4, Team Jared Whittish has a 4-0 lead over team from Colonial. Those are the other games going on in addition to our A final here. So lead rock from Nicole did come into the rings and sit in the top 12. And Jess McLeod's rock will finish on the side of the house, a little deeper than they'd like, in the back 12. So a little heavier than they were looking for. And Nicole being asked to remove this red rock. And we'll hit it. We'll roll out. But Team Leichter with the 3-0 lead, pretty content to hit anything of the red variety and limit the scoring. Jess McLeod trying this out turn. Albin looking maybe to have this be a guard. And this rock is checking up. Has a really nice line for a corner guard, and I believe it will check up and sit in a very nice spot. Nice tight corner guard there from Jess. And Team Leichter looking like they'll play the come around. So Ryan looking to come around on his intern side. It's a little light to me. Looks like this will check up on this path. This path has tricked them a couple times. The rock checking up and maybe just being a bit slower than they were anticipating. And Albin now gonna draw around, looks like his corner guard, and have play go towards the side of the house, which is always what you want with hammer. Indication from the sweepers seems to think this might be a little bit heavy. But the line is nice if it does check. And I don't think it will, unfortunately. It's a great line, but just a touch heavy. And we'll go all the way through. So Leichter now looking to play a tap and avoid that wide draw path that they seem to be struggling with the speed. Rock is away. Sweepers aren't on it. Seem to think it's maybe a touch heavy. But the line looks nice to tap this yellow. We'll tap. We'll roll the shooter around that corner guard and hit the promoted rock to the tee line. So yellow does sit two. Albin looking for a hit and flop around the shot rock and get a little bit of cover around that high yellow guard. Scott McLeod. So in control weight, they're on the sweep. This looks pretty close. Looks like it might curl just a touch too much at the end and spill. And go towards the back eight. And does roll to a place where it has a bit of cover on the in-turn side, but none on the out-turn. And Laura should be able to see most of this rock on the out-turn side. And the rock is away. Did look like a little bit of a flip on the out-turn side. This does need to finish. Ryan pushing it over and doing a very good job of it. We'll make contact and roll out, which is completely acceptable if your team liked her. Probably didn't even want that hanging around in the back as a potential jamming rock or a rock Albin could freeze to. So probably the rollout is a more ideal situation. Andy J looking for in-turn draw. Again, looking to try to hide around this high yellow guard. Rock coming in. Weight looks close, and line looks pretty good too. And this is a good rock from Andy. Sits nice right in the 8 foot, right around that yellow guard. And that's going to be pretty difficult to get to. And looks like Alex is calling for some sort of freeze, potentially corner freeze to that red rock. So rock is coming down. Sweepers are on it, but Alex calls them off. And this will come in, be a bit heavy. It will go behind the tee line. Albin sweeping it back and does check up enough for shot rock. And Albin looking to move this yellow with some quiet weight. Andy releasing the rock. This is a bit tight. See if it gets by this high guard. I don't believe it will. No, it'll tick it over. And we'll roll to a spot where it bumps up this yellow slightly. So a bit of a miss there from Andy. And Leiter now an opportunity to either draw another one in and set 1-2. And the original call from Alex is maybe a corner freeze on that red. And I believe that's what he's going for here. Could also be looking to move this red with maybe a touch more weight. Given the broom, it appears that he might be trying to do that. Definitely enough space between that guard and the red rock to make contact with that red. And that is indeed the call. Looks like board weight to me. And looking to push this over. And Ryan gonna push it over. Does nudge it, but not very far. And I believe red will still sit second, which is important. Yep, I'm pretty sure red is second there, and shot rock is exposed. So a chance to lie 1-2 here if you're Albin. Potentially generate a deuce, which will be very, very much what the doctor ordered after consecutive steals. So looking for a quiet hit, maybe something like board, control down weight. Rock is away. And Alvin singling them for them to not sweep. They're on it now, and looks like it'll roll slightly. And we'll roll to a spot that makes it a little bit harder to get to. And it is 1-2. So a good shot there from Albin. Nice roll to complicate things here for Leiter. Alex could opt for the draw to that rock that was just thrown. But if it's ever exposed or ever hangs or if it's ever light, would leave an opportunity for Albin to maybe score potential of 3. So it looks like the call, looking like an out-turn draw. No other shots are super obvious from here, as both of those red counting rocks are really behind cover. So it looks like the draw is the call. So Leiter throwing his out turn. Big shot here in this game. Rock is away. The sweepers are cleaning. Line looks pretty good. Does look like plenty of weight though. Is approaching this red rock. They will need to use that for backing. It's going to bounce off. It does remove that red for now. And that red rock is now 4th position. So it does remove a potential scoring rock for Albin, but does lie 1 and does have a draw for 2 if he wants, but is looking at potential run back on red, red, yellow, which could potentially lead him to scoring 3 if he doubles out the one in the back. And seems to be Andy might be wanting to play the draw. Okay, so he's putting his broom on the side of the 8-foot. He did motion towards those red rocks that are, one is in a 3-guard position and one is just biting the rings, as a potential like pseudo run back with maybe some quiet weight. But I think probably the call here is just the straight draw and score your 2 that way. But it does look like he's throwing some weight at this, so let's see what this does. It's checking up a little bit. Looked heavy out of hand, but it is checking up. Sweepers haven't laid a brush to this. It's gonna come into the house. It's gonna be in the back. Will it stop in time for second shot? No. So another miss from Albin, and that will be just a score of 1 force. So after the 4th end, it is Team Leiter with a 3-1 lead over Team Saliku. Taking a look at other sheets. Connor maintaining a 3-2 lead over Long Island in the D final. Team Whittish also with a 4-1 lead over Colonial. I believe that's the C event. And on sheet 1, Team Carey continuing to have a lead over their counterparts. They have a 5-2 lead as they finish off the 4th end. So, lead rocks here in the 5th end. Jess McLeod looking for something on the center line and does get a piece of it. So, good shot there from Jess. Alex looking for, appears to be a come around on the out-turn side. From lead Nicole Aaron. Alex out to help the sweep. And this does look like it has plenty of weight. We'll get to the 4-foot. And not quite bite the button, but very nice spot. Right around that center guard. So Jess McLeod looking for another in-turn come around. Kind of following down what Nicole just put. Rock is away. Line looks pretty good on the stone. Sweepers are on it for weight. Looking for a freeze here. That'd be a really nice shot. And we'll get pretty close to that. We'll just check up, sit in the 8 foot, but not a bad stone, and in a good position to be either raised or tapped later on in this end. So Alex again calling for that out turn draw. From Nicole. Rock is coming in. Looks like it'll make contact with this red rock and spill over, but fine shot. Albin looking for another in-turn draw. So both teams choosing separate paths to get to the 4 foot, but both doing it pretty effectively. Scott McLeod throwing the in-turn. Looks like a good amount of weight to the stone. Does need a finish. And is a bit wide of maybe what they were looking for, but is coming in now. Wow, this rock's going sideways at the end. And will make contact with the red. Bump it back to yellow. And that shot ended up very nicely. So again, a number of rocks in the rings early in the end. We'll see if the center guard ever is removed. But for now, a lot of rocks in play, which is always exciting. So Ryan Hollisey throwing a little bit of weight at this. Looks like board weight. Trying to get around the center guard. And it does. Oh my gosh, super close. And we'll just knock this red out. Very close on line there. And a little bit of a sheepish look from Ryan. Maybe not expecting his skipper to call such tight line on that one. But does do the job. Removes that red rock and doesn't disturb that yellow that's in a scoring position. So Scott McLeod looking like he's throwing a little bit of weight at this as well on the out-turn side. Looking to bump this yellow. Andy on the sweep to push it over. Rock will finish, and it will make contact. And does push the red into the yellows ever so slightly. And that red is in a good spot on the 4 foot. And it will be in a tough spot to move. Like they're maybe looking at this very flat double. Doesn't seem to think it's there, and looking at the overhead, tend to agree with them, even with the amount of weight that Ryan can throw. So, looking on the in-turn side, or this be Ryan's out-turn. Take an edge 8, looks like a draw. Maybe looking to just change the angles around of these yellows that are on top of the lonely red in the forefoot. Looks like back line to hack weight on this. Just again looking to change the angles around. And it will hit that second yellow, bump the red a bit, and roll the shooter to the side of the 8-foot on the tee line. So yellow's still sitting shot with hammer, but red firmly in second count position. But the angles have changed a little bit, so that red is a little more likely to be removed with the way the angles are shaping up. So Albin calling for a draw. Not sure exactly where he wants this rock, but it's gonna come into the house. It looks like it's gonna over curl and hit this top yellow, roll into the open, and is exposed from the house. Lichter can play a nose hit on this red if he chooses to, and that's what he's looking to do. Ideally wouldn't hit the high side to disturb shot rock. So if anything, you'd probably want to miss this on the low side and maybe roll your shooter towards the center line. We'll see where this ends up. Ryan pushing it over. Getting close to nose. And will be just inside nose. Good rock. There from Laura. Very strong performance so far from Team Lichter. Can't really remember anything too glaring in terms of misses. So definitely a solid overall performance. And that is definitely the reason why they have the lead so far. Andy DeZome looking to, I think, do the same thing, just a nose hit on that yellow rock. Maybe flop in towards the pile. This looks close. And we'll have a little bit of an inside flop, but not disturb any of the scoring rocks right now. So Lichter definitely has a bit of a choice right now. He can try to disturb those yellows that are kind of just biting the 8-foot and into the 8-foot. Try to rejigger that red that's sitting on top of shot rock. Definitely wants more than one, as he has hammer. So looks like he'll try to move this red and maybe hit this end of the pile. I mean, the risk is you might lose your shot rock, but looks like he's pretty content with hitting close to nose. But this is hanging. This is gonna do something to the pile. It will lose their shot rock, but does move the yellow. So I think Alex will be pretty happy with that shot. That red was in such a good spot where probably we're gonna have to lose that yellow counting rock to have a chance at 2 or more. A lot of younger, maybe more inexperienced skips would try to protect that shot rock, but you have 2 rocks to go with your skip rocks. If you have a chance to generate more than one, you want to try to do that. And yellow does sit now 1-2, even with losing that shot rock. So Albin looking on the in-turn side, maybe looking at a tap on that red rock that's in the 8-foot, sitting third. Try to bump it around those two yellows. Would be a good spot. Could also just make the cold draw. With the ice, he also might be looking at the hit and roll on off of this yellow. But is coming out, appears to be with draw weight. Is a touch narrow. Andy calling on the sweep pretty early. This will, looks like it might be over curling for the tap. And it actually looks like it'll make slight contact with the yellows, but just didn't necessarily have the weight there to tap up that red. So just a little quiet out of hand. And now Lichter still sitting the 2 and shooting. Can opt to make a nose hit on that red rock. And if he were able to do that, he would be sitting 4, I believe. It would be very close, actually, but I think it would be at least 3 if he were to do that. That seems to be the call. And would definitely put a lot of pressure on Albin's last to put it in a spot where Lichter can't get to it. But first things first, Alex looking to make this nose hit. Looks like good normal weight. Line looks pretty good. Gonna push it over. And it's hanging a little bit on the outside. Will it make contact with these yellows? No, just does not, but does roll his shooter out of the ring. Well, so it might hang on the edge there, but don't think it'll make too much a difference. But was looking for something a bit closer to nose, gesturing that maybe he was a bit heavier than what he wanted. But does sit 3, and Albin looking for what we'd call a hero draw. Needs to hide this around cover, and this is probably the game if he doesn't make this, as Alex will have a shot for at least 3, maybe 4 if he keeps the shooter. So Albin will know that. Definitely will want to hide this. So big shot here from Albin, looking for the in-turn. Taking about mid-12 for ice. And the rock is away. And sweepers are right off of the stone. They're worried about the speed. It looks a little heavy to me, but it is getting closer to the center line. Will it check up is the question. And it's gonna drift back, and it's gonna drift all the way to the back 12, and we'll leave an open draw for 4. For Team Lichter. And sense of resignation from Albin as he comes back up the sheet. Definitely a little disappointed himself, but had a very strong week. If this is the end, nothing to be ashamed of making the final of this event. So I'm not sure if this is the draw or the hit from Lichter. He's coming out. Looks like he's drawing. I think he trusts this path a little bit more, even though it's a bit tighter. That's why he's choosing this out-turn path. Rock is coming in. It also looks a little heavy to me. And where will this end up? It will drift to the back, but is it on the backing? No, it will scoot by, and it'll only be a score of 3. So, like to leave one on the board there. But still takes 3 and will take a commanding 6-1 lead going into the 6th end. Looking at other sheets, Team Carey still in a commanding position on sheet 1 with a 7-2 lead. In the D final, they have not hung the 5th end yet, so still have that 3-2 score line in favor of Team Connor Hogue. And on sheet 4, big score of 4 in the 5th end, and Team Whittish with a commanding 8-1 lead over Team Colonial. Lead rock here for Nicole, coming into the rings, sitting in the 8-foot. Definitely looking to have play come into the house if your team liked her. Try to remove any guards or anything of that sort where Albin can hide around. So Jess McLeod looking for a corner guard. Nice weight to this and also nice line. Beautiful corner guard. And liked her pointing to maybe a few different options that he'd like on this rock. Somewhere in the rings is, I think, what he's looking for. Top 12, maybe even a slight bump on that yellow rock. Even a tight guard he'd, I think, be okay with. But the line looks good. Looks like it will potentially freeze to this yellow rock, and that would be, I think, just fine. Yep. Almost a perfect corner freeze on those yellows. Albin looking to maybe hit these rocks with just bumper weight, which I like the idea of throwing a little bit softer weight, because you definitely want your shooters to stick around in this position. Don't need to throw normal or anything like that to maybe have this rock go out of the rings. So I like the weight choice here. Looks like good bumper weight, and it is going to make contact close to nose, and a good shot there from Jess. Moves those yellows around, but in a spot where this red rock could be potentially jammed. If you're a Team Albin fan, you'd like to see that. Here's Ryan coming down with good normal weight. Looking for nose to avoid any jams. And looks like that's exactly where this rock will end up, right on the beak. And roll out. So Team Leichter sitting 3. Albin calling for an out-turn hit. Not sure if he wants to get around this yellow rock that's top 12. Looks like that's what's going to happen. Quiet weight will bump this yellow rock and roll around the corner. Very nice shot there from Scott. And I like Albin choosing not to sweep that yellow out of play. you want to keep as many catchers around as possible. So even though it looks a little scary letting those yellows hang around, you really got nothing to lose when you're down on the scoreboard. So it doesn't matter if you give up, a high number. You're trying to get a multiple of your own. And sometimes the best way to do that is to keep catchers in the back. So shot here from Ryan will not make contact, and we'll go all the way through. Just didn't get maybe as much finish as they were hoping for. Red does sit shot around that corner guard. And Albin, not sure what the call is, maybe trying to bump this yellow back. And weight looks close to board to me. So we'll make contact and be very close to nose, a little flop. And a good shot there from Scott, keeping his shooter around. And removing a rock that Leiter, definitely could have did a lot of, work with if Albin chose to leave that around. But Alex really just in a position to hit anything that's red. Could hit the top red if he wanted to, but looks like he's going after shot rock. Definitely more of a finesse shot. And this is getting close to the corner guard. It's going to hit it. Roll the shooter to the side of the tee line. Back 8. But does move that corner guard a little bit away, so that red rock is now fully exposed. Albin weighing some options. Looking like a freeze on that yellow rock, which is a call I like. Again, just trying to make it as difficult as possible for Leiter to remove these red rocks. Rock is away from Andy. Just needs to get off the center line. And looks like it might be a little heavy. It is. And I don't think it's going to make contact with this yellow, and we'll go all the way through. So, fortunate miss from Andy. And Laura will have another chance to go after this red rock with the out turn. It's a good normal weight. And Nicole is on the sweep. We'll make contact. We'll spill that red in between all of those catchers in the back. And Leiter will still sit the 3. Albin looking for maybe a hit and roll off of this yellow or just a straight draw. I'm not sure what the call was, but this does have some weight to it. So looking for the hit. This is over curling though. I believe it will just go by. So fortunate end for Andy, but not a lot of good options, honestly, for Team Albin at this point with the hitting capability of Team Leiter. So Leiter looking to just throw some kind of what appears to be an in-turn draw. Could hit the red in the rings, but opting not to. In-turn draw. Line looks pretty good on this rock. Will it get by this red? They need to sweep it to get by. It's close. I think it will just wick, but it does sit in a good spot in the 8 foot. And they're sitting 4. So Albin really in a tough position to, you would think he would need definitely to score to keep going. But ideally would love to get 2. So likely see the draw around that high, or that rock that's in the top 12. So a little surprised Alex kept that rock around. But Ken, even if this draw is made well by Albin, will have the chance to run it back with either the red or the yellow that was just thrown. So Albin looking for some cover here with the first of his skip rocks. Rock is away. And the line's getting a little tight, and for me it also looks a bit light. And this will check up as a 2 guard on the center line, essentially. So Leichter doesn't really need to hit anything at this point. We'll just draw in and really just try to cut off this draw path. Something above T-line would be pretty ideal. Top 8, top 4. Position where you basically can't rest against the rock you just throw and score your one that way, which would be behind the tee line. So Alex is going to keep this above tee. See if he can make this draw on this path. He's been having a little bit of trouble reading this path, so we'll see if he can make one here. Rock is away. And out of hand, looks a bit heavy for me. Sweepers are kind of hanging off of it. Now looking to maybe push this in. And now it's checking up. Boy, that rock did check up quite a lot. And Alex looks like he finally figured out that path. He's kind of giving a sheepish look, wondering, I just threw hack and it stopped short of the tee line. But it ends up in a really good spot. And Albin now trying to get his one. Will need to, I don't know if nose will give him shot. It's close. It likely will, actually. I think if he just hits nose, he will be shot. It'll be close within that other rock that's in the top 8. But not many other options. Both draw paths are pretty much blocked off. So here's Albin, last in the 6th end. Andy calling the sweep on. And this is in the ballpark. Does need to finish a little bit. And it does. And does hit the nose. And is it shot? They are pointing to the red rock. And is one red. Albin looking at the scoreboard. Trying to determine if they want to keep going. And it looks like they will. So good shot there from Albin to score as one. But Team Leichter still with a commanding 6-2 lead going into the 7th end. We have some final results on Sheet 3 and Sheet 4. Both Broomstone teams winning their respective matchups. So Team Connor Hogue does win the D event over Team Long Island, and Team Jared Whittish winning either the B or the C. I'm not exactly sure, so apologies there. But they beat a team from Colonial. Team Carey still playing on Sheet 1. They continue to have a pretty commanding lead, 7-3 now, over a team I believe from Triangle. I hope I have that right. And we actually just have handshakes on Sheet 1 as well. So Team Carey, looks like they took 4 there in the last end, or at least 3, and they will win. I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say the B event. So hopefully that's right. So congrats to those other teams. So the only game in town is featured sheet, the A event, with looks like a tick attempt here and just nudges it over to the center line. We saw this last night as well from Nicole. So that's something that they'll have to work on in practice, get that tick down. Not a bad shot if you're practicing that. You're probably in command of the game. So that does sneak on the center line now. And Jess looking for something in the rings around that center guard. And this will come up a bit short, but guards aren't too much of a problem if you're Team Albin. Definitely want to have guards and have rocks come around it to hide. So Nicole now just trying the more conventional outturn draw. I think they've had enough of that tick attempts for this event. Line is good on this rock. Can they drag this into the house? It's close. Looks like it will be in the top 12. Bit of cover around that center guard. So Scott McLeod throwing the intern. Line looks pretty good on this rock. All about the weight now. We'll get around the center guard. Sweepers are on it, trying to drag this in. And we'll get it in the 12-foot. Believe out counting that yellow for now. So good line there from Scott. Just probably wanted a couple more feet of weight. So 6 rock of the end can remove some of these guards, and Alex calling for the double peel. So Ryan, I'm going to make this double peel. We'll throw very firm weight at this. Peel weight. And this is over curling. It's going to get close to nose, but move that red rock that was in the 12-foot. Does leave a shooter, so not exactly what they were looking for. So Albin does have another chance to draw around cover. And Scott looks like he has a good amount of more weight on this rock. The line looks good if it checks up, but Albin looks like this will be at the very least in the back of the house. Lichter on the suite, and will stick around in the back 12. Lichter, surprised he's not peeling guards here. Going for the draw. Pretty surprised about this call, gotta be honest. So, looking for out-turn draw here for Ryan. Trying to be on the side of the forefoot, but this looks like it has plenty of weight. And this will scoot by to the back. Albin sweeping it back. I think that was probably going out of play anyways, but would have liked Albin to keep that rock around to use as potential backing or a catcher. But nonetheless, the rock goes through. But another opportunity with these guards in play to put one around cover. Andy throwing the draw. Line looks real nice on this rock, but is it heavy? Seems like this path is getting a little quicker as the game has gone on, but this should check. And we'll stay in the back 8 foot, it looks like. Touching back of the 4. But again, Alex calling for draws. We're on Vice Rocks here. Laura Hollisey. So draw attempt here. Will clear the center guard by quite a lot. Now looking to push this over. And just looks like a little too much weight. Will bump it, but will not be shot rock. Red still sits 1. And Alex is kind of struggling with that line. Albin calling again. Another in-turn draw from Andy just through this rock. So should be close on speed and line. Line looks pretty good on this rock. But the weight, again, sweepers aren't on this. This is coming over, though. This looks really nice from Andy if it checks. And it's gonna right around the button. That's almost perfectly on the pin. So now Lichter trying to figure out a way to get to that shot rock. And red is sitting 2. Be really surprised to see if he doesn't hit some of these guards, but it doesn't look like he is. Looks like he's motioning for the draw. That's what we're gonna see. So Laura throwing the draw. They're on the sweep. Looks a little light. Light is not good if you're a Team Leichter fan. Yeah, and that will just sit in the 12 foot. And red continues to sit 2 here with a good amount of cover. So this is a bit of danger time here for Team Leichter. Steal a 2 would get Albin back in the game with a puncher's chance for sure in the last. But still skip rocks to be thrown. Albin looking for the best place to put this rock. He's motioning towards something in the rings. Try to sit 3 and put some pressure on Team Leichter. Taking plenty of ice here, almost edge sheet. Trying to get around this yellow rock and sit 3. Rock is away here for Albin, throwing his out turn. And rock is coming in, looks close for line and weight. Will get by and get into the 4 foot. Albin sits 3 around a lot of cover. And Team Leichter all of a sudden on the back foot, looking for a way to get in there. They have the run on this yellow rock. You can see probably about half of that from the hack. You can see, if you hit what you can see, probably some good outcomes will happen. But you can only see about half of that rock. So can't throw anything probably more than control weight at that. The draw doesn't look super appetizing, really on either side. Not sure if you can get inside of that red rock that's back of the tee line, that's sitting second. If your Team Leichter, you're probably okay with the steal of even only 2 at this point. Don't want to give up more than 2. So we're going to see now a run back. Do have to say I thought we'd see this shot about 3 rocks ago. But Alex will play it with the first of his skip rocks. And he is raising one of his opponent's rocks, which is always not an ideal situation, but maybe looking to get some action on one of his yellows off the side there, driving into the pile. But really just looking to open up things, because right now it's not looking super pretty. So Leichter coming out, big weight. Ryan on the sweep. So hit just high side of nose, driving into the pile, removes the yellow. Does not remove any of the counting rocks. So Albin continuing to sit 3. And if I'm Albin, why not try to draw another one in there and sit 4. And he's taking the other path here. And really just needs to be middle of the 8 foot to sit 4 without hammer. And really put some pressure on Team Leichter. So maybe a little bit of drama to go in this game when you thought after the fifth end there wasn't much, and then the way the sixth end was shaping up, had a feeling this was going to go a certain direction, but you never know in curling. Draws away. It looks a bit heavy to me. Will it get to this back yellow? Jess is trying to push it over. Looks like it will. Will get to the back yellow. They will sit 4. But does that leave a bit of a bailout for Leichter to even just draw to that rock and take away those 2 reds that are in the back of the house? Again, I think if you're Leichter, you're happy giving up 2 here, given how this end is shaken up. So the in-turn draw is the call. Probably the best outcome here is to just give up the 2 with how well those reds are positioned on the button. So we'll see how this shakes out. Big stone here. Alex Leichter's last in the 7th end. Taking some time in the hack. Trying to figure out what speed to throw, what split looking for. Rock is away. Taking about middle of the 12-foot fur line. Nicole is on the sweep, and now Ryan's helping out. It will get by the center guard. Line looks pretty nice. Does it have the weight to get in there? It looks like it does. And will bounce off, but will be a steal of 2 for Albin. And I think that's, again, best case scenario for Team Leichter there. Steal of 2 for Albin. They cut the deficit to 2 points after 7. It is 6-4 Team Leichter. And Leichter will retain the hammer. So you got to think in the 8th end here, Leichter might be wanting to see a little fewer rocks in play. So Jess will throw the center guard, and they'll look for another steal. Rock is away. This has really nice weight to it and great line. Will it stay on the center line? It looks like it will, maybe. Ooh, just come off. So this is in a spot where this can be ticked if Leichter chooses to, but will not play the tick. A little surprised again. We'll opt for the come around. Now looks like he might be having a change of heart. And now it looks like he will play the tick. Hack weight is the call for weight. Trying to just chip this rock over, either in the rings or off to the side. It is a little interesting he's playing it this direction, but this might be a handle preference for Nicole. Weight looks pretty close, does need to come over. Ryan trying to push it over. And it's going to make contact. This is going to be pretty good. It's a really nice tick from Nicole. We'll tick it in the rings, but now in a position that can be removed from play with Nicole's next rock. And it's out of the free guard zone. So a good second choice there after some thought from Alex. Just again trying to put this on the center line to avoid this being in a position that can be ticked. This is close. Andy on the sweep. This should be on the center line. Will it go into the rings? No. So a nice shot there from Jess, and no surprise, Alex calling for the hit on that red rock. Rock is away, and this is a little narrow and will not make contact. So red will sit the 1, and a chance to draw one around their tight center guard. So Scott McLeod looking for the out-turn draw. Sweepers haven't touched this yet, but now is coming over. Line looks pretty good on this rock, but appears to be a little light, and I don't believe it will go into the rings, and will just sit right next to their center guard, and in a very doubleable position to remove these guards, and could even potentially move that other rock that's in the ring. So just unfortunate where that rock ended up. And Ryan will throw big weight here to try to get all 3 of these reds moving. Rock is away. Cole on the sweep to keep it straight, and ticks over the other red. So good outcome. Moves those guards off the center line. Moves the shooter over as well. So pretty open house. A lot better looking than the last end if you're Team Leichter fan. So Albin once again calling for the out-turn draw. Looking for a guard, probably hoping for a nose attempt on a peel from Leichter, and then being able to hide around that rock. This rock is very nice. We'll stay very close to the center line in a 3-guard position. But call from Ryan will be the straight peel. Rock is away. Cole on the sweep to keep it straight. And will they get the double? Nice shot. Really nice shot there from Ryan to get both of those rocks. And loses shooter as well. Excellent peel and double. So not many places to hide right now if you're Albin. Not sure. Looks like he's trying to draw to the side of the 12-foot. Trying to make use of whatever that yellow rock is covering, which isn't much. Rock is away. Line's good on this rock, but it looks like it's just a touch light. Albin trying to sweep it in. Will get into the rings. And a pretty good attempt there from Andy. But rock will be mostly exposed on that in-turn side. So Laura will play Looks like normal weight at this. Just trying to get the broom set up in the absolute right spot. Laura throwing the in-turn, inside out. So this rock should move. Ryan's on it to keep it straight, but this looks pretty nice. We'll come over and remove this red rock, roll the shooter out. Great shot from Laura. Now the numbers game comes into play. Albin needing to score 2 with 3 rocks left. We'll definitely need a miss or 2 out of Alex to keep this game going. So Andy, again, looking to draw around that very wide corner guard. And this one looks a little lighter than the last even. They're gonna need to pump this in. It's getting better. Albin coming out, helping out. And now this looks pretty nice, but in a very similar position to where the last red was. Maybe a touch more cover with it being going a little deeper. But very similar shot. And no hesitation out of the hack. And Laura. Looks like similar weight. Similar line. Calling for the sweep. This is a little tighter to the corner guard, but looks fine. And this shot is made. Great weight. And 2 really good shots there from Laura to not allow Albin and team to put much pressure. But Albin looking to make the same shot again, force Alex to make it. Really no other options at this point. But win or lose here for Albin and team, did show good amount of resiliency coming back after that tough 5th end. Did look, to be honest, pretty dead in the water for them, but was able to scratch out a single and 6 and put a boatload of pressure on Alex and team in that 7th end. So a lot of credit should be given to them. Win, lose, or draw. Albin throwing the straw, trying to get to the side of the 12-foot. Sweepers are not on it. Seem to be a bit worried about the weight, but will it stop? Needs to be in the rings, and it is. But is relatively open for Alex. Will have a good chunk of this rock, and would expect him to throw his peel weight, patented peel weight shot, and run Albin out of rocks. So this is potentially the last shot of the boo. Alex taking basically edge of the rock here. Expect to see firm to peel weight, taking the ice out of it. Basically trying to make it out of hand. And out of the hack, rock is away. Ryan cleaning. And they seem to be happy with it. It will make contact, roll out. And that will be the end of the A final. Congratulations to Team Leichter. They win the Boo A final by a final score of 6-4 over Team Albin Saliku. So congratulations to them. A nice played final again after looked like it was going to go one direction middle of the game, but a nice fight back and had a little bit of drama at the end, which is always something that we're looking for. So that will conclude our coverage of the 2024 Broomstones Oktoberfest Open Bonspiel, also known as the Boo. My name is Matt Hughes. We thank you for following along this weekend, and we hope to see you on the ice very, very soon. Checking out from Broomstones. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.